for the addiction. So
right.
I believe, and let's let him have his day in court, obviously, but I believe that, the moral bankruptcy that came with his obsession, his addiction to these sexual escapades online, just, robbed him of any moral compass. And it does.
And those Google searches, how damning is that?
Yeah, man. It's amazing what human beings are capable of. It's amazing what human beings are capable of, the evil. I got to tell you, having covered these cases for 37 years, we call people who kill animals. Well, guess what? No, animals don't torture their own babies to death.
Okay, we do have a caller that wants to say hello to you, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
Let's go out to Virginia and say hello to Mary. Good evening, Mary. You're live on the phone with Jane Velez Mitchell on King Jordan Radio. Hi, Mary. Let's try Mary again.
Oh, Mary. Mary.
Okay, is she there?
Mary, quite contrary.
Well, I am so excited to be able to speak with you, Jane. I used to watch your show all the time.
Oh, great.
And and you were talking about the loss of your mother, and I accept my condolences. I looked up your mother on the internet. Anita is her name.
Yes.
What's her name? And because I knew you were half Puerto Rican, and I'm Cuban.
Oh,
and
fantastico.
Fantastico, see. And I saw her picture with her, I guess, her wedding, one of her weddings with the mantilla on her head, and she was absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, my mother was just a beautiful woman. She was stunning. And,
yes, she
was. She would stop traffic, as she used to tell me. She goes, when I crossed the street, I would stop traffic. And she had an incredible personality, and she was so ahead of her time. She was doing yoga in the 50s when nobody even knew what yoga was. She was a dancer.
That's amazing.
She was the last of the vaudeville. She played the Palace Theater, and she came from Puerto Rico by herself on a boat
I read
at the age of 12.
Story,
Yeah, she taught herself to dance by being an usherette, and she formed a very successful dance troupe called Anita Velez Dancers, and they toured hotels in the Caribbean, the United States, and Canada. And so she was really an example of a self-made person. I mean, she literally came with nothing and created a whole career for herself. And she ended up, kind of really in very interesting social situations. When I was a kid, and my dad was Irish, and he was an advertising guy. He was like straight out of Mad Men. But I would come home from school, and my mother would have all these Russian aristocrats who had fled Russia, and they would have names Countess Boxhovenden and all these people, and they'd be sitting around eating fondue, and somebody be painting a portrait. And, as a smart aleck kid, I called my mother. I would go, Mom, last time I checked, we weren't Russian nobility. What's going on here? And she said, oh, darling, they told me they'd give me a title. And, she just had such a sense of the absurdity of life. And I've always kept that, too. I mean, life is absurd. It's crazy, the idea even of royalty. Well, she reinvented herself and became whatever she wanted to be. And, I miss my mom terribly, but I do think that, when I get really sad, and every day I think about my mom, and especially because I have her little Chihuahua, little Rico from Puerto Rico here, and we
Rico.
often look at each other.
I've seen
Rico.
him on TV.
Yeah, that was my mom's dog, and now he's our dog. And anyway, I say to myself, these cows, these baby calves that are ripped from their mothers, so that we can drink the milk that we steal from the mother calves. Because people don't realize cows have to be pregnant to produce milk. Think about it. They don't just produce milk. All female animals have to be pregnant to produce milk, human or
I didn't know that.
Yes. And so the reason why the babies are ripped away from the mothers at birth is because if they didn't take them away, they'd drink the milk.
Oh,
so
gosh.
It's so sad. And there's a video that I posted on my Jane Unchained called Grieving Mothers. And these cows fight to keep their babies. And literally they come out of their bodies and they're taken away from them. And the babies are put in crates. The boys become veal, and they have to keep their flesh tender, so they put them in crates. I mean, it's so sad.
Oh, my gosh, it makes me want to cry. I do eat meat, but after listening to you, I just, because I love animals and I do have rescue animals. And basically, for me, I am a child abuse advocate. With so many children that are murdered every year, 440 murdered by their parents every single year so far. But I also, when I go to a movie and they're showing something that's going to happen to an animal, I can't watch it. So maybe I need to reassess my eating habits. After what you said, but I just wanted to say you're like the Energizer bunny running without batteries, just endless, but energy that you have.
But wait, I want to thank you. I want to stop and thank you, because so many people, when you hit them with the information, the truth bombs, as we say, they get angry and they like, what's wrong with her? Blah blah blah.
They're close-minded.
I want to thank you and anybody else listening for saying, hey, I got some new information. I'm going to reassess.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to come back to help you, because it will help your health, and it'll make it easier to stay fit as you get older, and you'll have energy. I mean, you can't be somebody who eats, people say to me, oh, I tried going vegan and it didn't work for me. I said, what do you eat? Well, I ate pasta, bread, and Oreo cookies. No. You got to eat greens, kale, and grains like quinoa and millet and kasha. And, what I tell everybody is there's a whole world of food out there. The sad standard American diet is really the most restrictive diet in the world. There's a world of food out there. It's not a sacrifice. It's an adventure. Go to your local health food store. They have them everywhere. When I covered the Michael Jackson trial in Santa Maria, they had a great health food store in Santa Maria, California, which is a little tiny, it's not a center, a cultural center, to put it mildly. It was a great place, though. But what I'm saying is, you can always find a healthy choice. You can always find a compassionate choice. I shop at Costco. Costco has meatless meatballs. Costco has
I had a black bean burger the other day.
Good for you. Good for you.
With lettuce and tomato, but instead of the meat, it was smashed black beans made into a burger and fried.
Yeah. They have tons of them. In the frozen food section of every store, whether it's a Boca Burger or Dr. Prager's or you just go to the frozen food section and you can find the Gardein and try them out. Because. People say, well, why are you trying to imitate meat? Because people want it, so it's a transitional thing. I don't need it. I mean, I'll take a slab of firm tofu and grill it and put a little garlic oil and, some Bragg's aminos on it and put it on a nice whole wheat bread and have a nice sandwich. But if that's too big a leap, people can find, like I say, I shop at Costco. I get almond milk there. I get soy milk. I get Gardein meatless meatballs. I get all sorts. They have a lot of vegan products. Not only that, but I have to give Costco some credit. Their shampoo. They have shampoo that says not tested on animals. I mean,
I always check that out. Yeah. Hey,
if we all stand up and demand it, then it's going to get cheaper. And I have to say one other thing. People say, well, it's too expensive to eat that way. There's only one reason, because the U.S. government subsidizes the meat and dairy industry. If not, the average burger you get at a fast food joint would cost $12, and people wouldn't be gorging on them. They wouldn't be able to afford to gorge on them. The USDA is controlled by the meat and dairy industry, and they shove horrible food into the school system. And then taxpayers have to pay because these kids are unhealthy, and then the medical costs are skyrocketing.
Astronomical.
So if you're a conservative, because I assume usually a lot of people listening to radio, they might be liberal, but they're often conservative. It's your tax dollars that are being wasted. Why should rich farmers get subsidies when they're millionaire farmers? And to produce food that's making America sick and fat. There's another great documentary on Netflix, Sick, Fat, and Nearly Dead. Check that one out.
Okay. Well, and one last question is, how do you see the Justin Ross case going? Because the prosecution wants murder one, and the defense, I can't even believe that they say it was an accident, because at the very least it has to be total negligence, complete, because his head was in other things. I personally believe he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
Well, there's a lot of evidence, in my opinion. If I'm just giving my opinion, I'm not convicting him because I'm not a jury member. But in my opinion, he has Chick-fil-A with his little son, right? And then he leaves, and he says he totally forgot and went to the office and leaves them there. And then he goes to lunch with his friends.
Yeah, and he went to his car.
Drops some light bulbs back to his car. He still doesn't remember he leaves his kid there. And remember, his wife goes to the daycare to pick up the child, and they say, "Oh, the child isn't here." And one of the first things she blurts out is, "He must have left him in the car."
Oh, I didn't know that fact.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
unreal.
I'm not going to extrapolate anything from that, but it's odd that she would immediately jump to that conclusion.
Well, I found a couple of things that he said very odd. I mean, when you have a child, you don't say, "I love my child a lot." You love your child. You don't love him a lot. That extra thing is odd to say. And I love him all the time. That's also odd to say. It's almost like he's trying to convince people. So
yeah, it's you talked about the number of people who are murdered by their parents. We think of that mother-child or father-child bond, but often it's just not there. And I'm not saying that he never loved his child, but in my opinion, the addiction. You look at most of the worst crimes that are committed, there's often drugs and alcohol behind them. And sex addiction is an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
It's mood altering.
So with both the animal rights and the children's rights and their right to grow up like they should be able to, and they're not being allowed to grow up, what I encounter both on Twitter and on Facebook is total apathy from people. They don't care, and that's really sad.
Well, I have a huge following of animal people, and they do care. And I know so many people who are devoting their lives.
To be honest with you, than for babies. Then when a child's murdered, and I'll tweet something, and I'll get nothing but. If someone tweets about an elephant in Africa, you get 100,000 retweets.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's a competition. People say sometimes to me, "Why don't you care about people? Why do you care about animals?" I said, "Well, you know what? I do care about people. I'd like to eliminate world hunger and malnutrition. As we've been having this radio show, dozens of children around the world in developing countries have died of malnutrition.
Right.
And we could stop that by instead of making a really, really stupid choice of eating the least efficient source of food. Because think about the grain it takes to raise. Think about the amount of food you feed your dog. By the way, my dogs are essentially vegan.
Vegan too.
Yeah, they eat evolution, which is plant-based, and occasionally they'll get a treat that may not be vegan, but they're pretty vegan, and they're doing just fine. And but anyway, what I was saying is, it's all interconnected. Meat production is one of the biggest causes of climate change. And, we just experienced one of the hottest years, or the hottest year on Earth. And, people are so funny. They're, the inherent concept that we act in our self-interest. That's the flaw with, sort of the libertarian philosophy. We don't act in our self-interest. Human beings are incredibly self-destructive. We think we're acting in our own self-interest.
No,
we grab
are
a bottle and we guzzle it.
Have
and we
a
get drunk. Oh yeah, I'm doing what I want
to us.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have that, I think.